Hello and welcome to Network. My name is Spumelele Zundi with your technology and social media news. Remember that if you want to be a part of this technology conversation, you can find us on SABC Network. That's on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. It's newsnetwork@sabc.co.za on email. You can also use the hashtag SABC Network. Here's what's coming up in the program. Timologong receives investment worth millions of rand for a new digital hub. Uganda faces criticism from all over for its social media attacks. Our discussion looks at the increasing number of social media sites with video sharing features. Gideon Tabit from the University of Forte is here for that one. Hello and thank you very much for joining us. Do you think this will democratize the video sharing and viewing space?
Absolutely. There are grey areas that need to be looked at.
All right, sure. We will touch deeper on that later in the program. But first, your technology and social media news. Now, the Timologong Digital Innovation Precinct has launched a digital content hub in partnership with the French Institute of South Africa. The newly launched digital hub will serve as an incubator of innovative and creative audiovisual content.
The Timologong Digital Precinct has launched a digital content hub for audiovisual content. The Digital Innovation Hub will house some of South Africa's digital entrepreneurs and tech startups.
The vision for Timologong is really about trying to have a go-to place for entrepreneurs and innovators who've got great digital ideas. And if you lived in Silicon Valley and you had a great idea, you would know where to go to because there's so many places. If you're living in Joburg and you've got a great idea, where'd you go to get help with that idea? And the place that we want to come to people's mind is Timologong.
The hub received grant from French government. The grant will enable the hub to expand its activities.
The governments are here to help, and so it's a joint private sector and government initiative. And the idea is once again to find the right people, the young ones, we mean, and to have them in such a place as Timologong, right here in the center of Joburg. I think it's a clear signal from all points of view, and to make sure that they have the tools, that they have the opportunities to make sure that their project as startups can be taken into consideration and go one step further if they are selected. That was the logics that we had with the French Embassy and the French Institute when we launched the Digital Lab Africa, which is not just for South Africa, but it is based here and it addresses all African countries.
The first project to be hosted at the Digital Hub is the 2-year skills development program. The program will focus on augmented reality, mixed reality, audiovisual content and holograms.
We're launching the missing piece, which for us is content, and that's around animation, gaming, virtual reality, mixed reality. And we're signing a partnership with the French Development Agency as well as the Institute of France of South Africa, where the three parties are coming together and forming a pan-African meeting French market partnership.
It is also expected to offer underprivileged youth from local townships access to the fast-changing digital economy.
As the foundation where we're doing this work, this is our first base, but our outreach extends to rural and township. From a township perspective, we've been doing quite a bit of work in terms of outreach to townships, working with Ikasi Labs, for example. We also have a partnership with Westbury Youth Centre. And for us, that's just the starting point. We have a lot of work to do to make sure this kind of work and initiatives goes beyond cities. It's a huge dilemma. But we're already speaking to other more rural universities to plug into their networks to look at how do we replicate the Timologong experience.
By 2021, the precinct expects to have a fully incorporated digital content development into its activities.
Last week, we told you about Uganda's social media attacks. Now, many from all over the continent have taken to social media to oppose this move. They're using the hashtag No to Social Media Attacks. Uganda also blocked social media during the last election in 2016. These are some of the tweets that are opposed to Uganda's social media tax. Last week, the East African country implemented a 0.5% tax on social media and the same amount of tax on mobile money. Every day, users of social media will pay about 69 South African cents in addition to the amount they're paying for data. The 69 cents expires every 24 hours and has to be renewed. This is something that many in Uganda oppose.
It is not helpful, it is not good for freedom of expression, it is not good for social inclusion, for people who are locked out of opportunities because we operate in a connected economy. So for people who write, a lot of the people I see, majority of my interact with, are people who have been using VPN to, circumvent, bypass this tax.
This country has been having challenges of internet shutdowns way back when we had the 2016 presidential elections, which was also not right. So there is a very big problem. Our policymakers need to come on board and address these issues before they impose these taxes.
I'm in printing, so I use social media, I use WhatsApp, maybe for sending images or samples of what I do. So if they put more taxes, then I will be limited.
Far from Kampala, we asked some people in South Africa how they would feel if South Africa implemented a similar social media tax.
For me, it would be absolutely incomprehensible, and quite frankly, I don't think that the population would stand for it. There'd be a revolution on their hands.
I don't necessarily think it's the best idea. As far as economic development goes, I think don't tax it. Regulation maybe.
There's so many, businesses today that are using social media as the heart of their business. I mean, for people like me as an influencer, I do all my business on social media, and it's a means of communication these days. It's an integral part of our lives.
Back in Uganda, the government has been taken to the Constitutional Court over this.
Freedom of expression, economic freedom, business progress are all being stifled with this tax, and we think it is a proper case to challenge in the Constitutional Court because the Constitution guarantees equality, it guarantees economic rights, it guarantees fairness, and all these principles are trampled upon by this social media tax.
Digital advocacy group Worldwide Web Foundation says data costs in Africa are already among the world's highest. The SABC team climbing Mount Kilimanjaro as part of a team raising funds for sanitary pads for schoolgirls is using a tech to train. Their high-altitude masks are meant to simulate altitude areas, high-altitude areas like the mountain that the team will be summiting. Let's hear from SABC reporter Julian Pile and cameraman Tabu Madilula, who will be part of this adventure.
Wakey. The SABC news team is not missing out. They underwent extreme training.
We are using elevation masks to strengthen our cardio, and we've been doing a lot of muscle training, especially on our legs, so that we can have the strength to go up Kilimanjaro for the second time.
This elevation mask, which limits oxygen intake, helps improve lung capacity. The 4 settings range from low to intense and is used by Everest hopefuls to prepare for high altitude resistance.
Listen to that.
The team will take over 200,000 steps over the 5-day trek. Again, a call on corporate companies, civil society and government to donate sanitary pads towards each step taken.
It is the SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. News Network at sabc.co.za on email. Now, after the break, we chat to Gideon Tabit from the University of Fort Hare about the increase of social media sites with video sharing abilities. Stay with us.
You fired! Unfair dismissal. Car accident. Court appearance. Let Trantel Legal tackle your legal problems. Whether it is a car accident, unfair dismissal, uncontested divorce, unfair blacklisting, or a wrongful arrest, we have tough professional lawyers standing by to assist you.
With the help of Trantel Legal, I kept my job and I can support my family. I definitely got value for money. It didn't cost me a cent, just my monthly premium.
There was one man with his lawyer against a big bank and I won.
Car accident. Faulty goods or bad service?
You're fired!
Unfair dismissal. No matter how big or small your legal problems, don't tackle them by yourself. Clientele Legal will do the tough work for you. SMS RIGHT to 32281 and we'll call you back.
As SABC as the new look, independent, impartial, will be having a new ways of policing where everybody is a police and there are less managers and more foot soldiers.
You must be at the forefront of this fight against the killing of young women. Why is it that we find it so easy to kill one another? We were killed by Boers in 1976. Now we are the killers. Can't be.
If this airport's name will not be a constant name, there will be war.
The African National Congress has not come here to claim victories. We have come to earnestly tackle the problems facing our country. We must emerge with a firm resolve to clear the path to a new and democratic order. South Africa must be the winner.
SABC Network, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram News Network at sabc.co.za on email. Thank you very much for being a part of our network tonight. Now, many of you have started sharing long-format videos on Instagram TV. IGTV launched recently. It seems many people are still trying to figure out how to use it properly. Instagram recently surpassed 1 billion monthly active users, even though many we've spoken to in the past say it's too expensive for them because of Africa's high data costs. Videos on IGTV are viewed vertically in the way you hold your phone when you speak. Tech firms such as Facebook, YouTube, and Snapchat have been spending heavily to grow mobile video services that will attract both users and corporate brand advertising. Now, to look at this increase of media sharing features on social media platforms is media lecturer at the University of Fort Hare, Gideon Tabet. Hello, and thank you for being a part of our network.
Thank you for having me.
Why are so many sites going beyond what they intended to do initially? Facebook was just a social network where people were sharing what they do at parties. Instagram itself was a photo sharing platform. They didn't have video initially, but now they keep on growing their video services.
Well, I suppose it's a fad or a trend that has become something that is necessary to change the face of how we relate to each other, particularly with television communication. If I were to sit and I realize that majority of the people have got access to free phones that they can store video, that should be the platform that I would use to actually load such data or videos online for people to see. So it's a fad that has become a trend and it's money making for people.
You say it's money making for these companies and for individuals like you and I and everybody else. Why do we see the need to share videos of what we are doing and what we're getting up to?
Well, look, society is changing. If I have access to such information and I feel like sharing with friends, and I have the data capacity to share it, then I would share it. That seems to be a trend and it's a fad. And smart investors across the globe have seen this, particularly with Netflix. They've seen this and say, okay, we can actually build something out of it and make it part of programming that has actually revolutionized the face of television. Some people are even saying that it's post-TV epoch now. With the transition from the linear model that traditional television sees.
I suppose the fact that we have mobile devices also helps in that regard.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. And when it comes to the type of content that's being shared, what type of content? Because Facebook initially was just a social site, for example, and it no longer is just that.
Well, look, the type of content we see on such platforms today, social media platforms, vary. And it will also depend too on what people feel that they can share now. But what we need to watch out for is that traditional television has become very boring, particularly with the linear model that we see of you have to sit there and wait for particular programming to come on air. But with the Netflix model, which we see actually working, and you see, you mentioned IGTV and other other online media platforms are using, they actually allow any interaction, any social media user to actually come, they put in material and take it out the way they want. And it's very interactive, so which is good.
Are we likely to see these models coming to the African continent, the Netflix model that you're talking about, for example?
It already exists in the African continent. It's just that it's a little chaotic in the African continent, but it already exists. Contributions are coming from every other part of the world. And that's why you see governments are becoming very repressive trying to put this down. Every other person can go online now and load information and build it. But there's that element of what we call, if I want to put it nicely, agency and structure. The structure that was traditional is shifting now, where individuals can actually come and use the agency and put up anything, and that's actually scared governments. But what we need to be aware of is that it's nothing new.
Yeah.
It's been like this with every other form of transition that has come, particularly with innovation. Television, when television started, governments in Africa were reluctant to accept it. So if you see this coming on with social media platforms, governments too they're not very sure of what is happening there. Hence, they are coming in, and some of them are coming behind the altruistic intention that they want to put order in society and hide behind to make money from it, with the tax laws that you mentioned in your clip there on Uganda.
What is it about a video that would scare the African governments that you're talking about? You just mentioned that when television first launched, it took a while for it to launch in Africa. I believe South Africa only got it in 1976 because the apartheid government of the time as well was scared of video. And now video shifting to the hands of the people. Again, governments are a bit reluctant, and some of them, as you mentioned, are clamping down on that. What scares governments about video?
Well, it's very simple. There's a very simple answer to that. Lots of things that used to be hidden before are now in the open. Every individual in every society, in every remote corner in Africa has got a camera-enabled television that can take a video of events that are going on, of incidents that are happening. Some of them the government would not want to show to the rest of the international community because it embarrasses them. We've seen that in places like you mentioned in your clip in Tanzania, Uganda, and in Cameroon, where such clips have been sent and puts the government in a very embarrassing position to see people that are supposed to be responsible acting in a haywire, very autocratic, high-handed position. So that should scare any government.
But of course, governments can take advantage of this video and the fact that it's in people's hands as well.
You mean take advantage as in?
As in a counter-narrative, perhaps? As in explaining why they act the way they act?
Of course they can, but that would also need a particular kind of expertise that most of them do not have. These are free individuals that have the wherewithal to understand this technology and post it in there. Most governments, particularly in societies that have got some things to hide, particularly most sub-Saharan African societies that have got something to hide, most of them do not have that kind of wherewithal to actually go in there and change the narrative. They would actually have to go back and do it on the traditional platforms, which they feel they have some element of control with.
Yeah, but all in all, you say it's a good thing that there are so many platforms now with video sharing capabilities.
Absolutely, it's a good thing. But like I say, it's a free-for-all, so there must be some element of to adjust it, to make it look, if you put it, more civilized. For instance, instead of coming to with repressive laws, why not start with curriculum from primary school and train young people to understand how this technology works and what impact it can have in society so that they can use it better, instead of playing that paternal responsibility of the state to actually repress people or make money out of it.
All right, sure. Gideon Tabit, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right. Gideon Tabit there lectures media studies at the University of Fort Hare in the Eastern Cape province of South Africa. Now, this week we also caught up with SABC weatherman Azwi Duane, and he told us about his favorite piece of technology.
Currently in Gauteng, we are expecting few clouds to clear skies over most parts of the day. Hello everyone, my name is Azwi, a meteorologist at the SABC, and also a climate change warrior with other international weather presenters around the world. My favorite piece of technology is a cell phone, because in it there are softwares that I use and that keep me updated with what I do daily. In Twitter, I can read my news and also check my weather updates, because I follow institutions like your Weather Service, Copernicus, and NOAA, and they keep me updated with all the weather and information that I need to know. For today, we are expecting cool to cold conditions as well, with Freiburg at a maximum of 22. That is all. Now, Yando. We are on social media at SABC Network across all platforms. Now, Facebook is to be fined for Cambridge Analytica's data breach, and Samsung Electronics opens what it says is the world's largest mobile manufacturing plant. It's in India. These are some of the top tech stories that made headlines in the last week.
An unusual pop museum in Lisbon is delighting social media-focused visitors with colorful and dreamy displays of giant ice creams and all things sweet. The Sweet Art Museum is Europe's first exhibition dedicated to happiness.
We are a museum for the new generation, for the generation who lives intensely and wants to share the moments immediately. The new generation wants to experience, wants to take pictures and want to share on the social networks. We are, as I told before, we are Instagram friendly, so our concept is all about taking creative and funny pictures.
The exhibition features a total of 8 thematic and scented rooms: Splashmallow Pool, Happy Hall, Ice Cream Land, Gummy Gate, Candy Wash, Pop Circus, Sweet Dreams and Lucky Fruit. Visitors have access to an app that allows a better interaction with the displays during their tour, which includes virtual reality games, holograms and photo competitions. And off we go to the UK. Facebook faces an unprecedented fine from Britain's data watchdog. Information regulator Elizabeth Denham says she intends to take action over breaches of data protection law. Her office has been investigating how millions of users' personal information was improperly accessed by consultancy Cambridge Analytica. That firm was hired by Donald Trump for his campaign to win the US presidency. For the multi-billion-dollar tech firm, a penalty of about $600,000 might not seem much, but significantly, it's the maximum fine the watchdog can impose. And now in India, Samsung Electronics has formally opened a new factory in the country, which the South Korean tech group says it's the world's biggest mobile phone manufacturing plant, part of its plans to expand production in the world's fastest growing major mobile phone market.
India's young generation under the age of 35 comprise 65% of the entire population. As such, it is a young, enterprising country. India also has a great passion for education, and its ability to embrace new cultures and innovation is greater than any other country.
The factory in Noida, on the outskirts of New Delhi, will help Samsung to double its current capacity for mobile phones in Noida to an annual 120 million units after the phased expansion plan is complete, the company said in a statement.
All right, now this week our Twitter poll is asking if you've made legitimate debit order disputes. This comes as the Payments Association of South Africa says debit order disputes have increased in the country. Now the majority at 47% says yes, they have made disputes, and 31% says no, and that they're saying that they have not made any legitimate disputes, and there's 8% of you who are saying that you approved the debit orders and then disputed them later. And at 14% are people who say the bank didn't help when they made such disputes. And that's all we have for you. You can find us on SABC Network. Now that's on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Use network at sabc.co.za on email. We leave you with visuals of the Sweet Art Museum in Lisbon in Portugal. From me and the rest of the network team, have a good one. Bye-bye.